Hello, everybody. Here we are again. Fucking deep, where we do puck and do it deeply. That's what it's all about, my friends. I used to have people tell me all the time when on Twitter when I was bringing up some stuff that wasn't the most popular in the world that I don't know puck. So I made this. We decided to do this to show that maybe we might know puck a little more than you think. Puck in deep. Today, we're going to start off with, today we're going to look at some trade news that's happening, and we're also going to do some predictions on what teams may surprisingly make the playoffs or maybe not.
Yeah, man.
And what teams may miss the playoffs, surprisingly and unsurprisingly. But we're going to start off with a little tidbit with Ron here from RNJ Media. Ron is a big prospect guy on RNJ Media. You got to go check out his prospect stuff. He talks to prospects and stuff like that. Does some Philadelphia stuff, and he does this. And he's a good hockey guy, and I love to have him on. But Ron, you've heard that some news scuttlebutt in the fairly recent history about what happened, why Quinn Hughes went to Minnesota. What is it that you heard? I heard the same thing, and a lot of other people did. But what is it that you heard about that? The reason
Well, I didn't really hear, but it was just stuff that I had read, kind of things in passing from people. It's not like I hear anything. I don't really have my ear to anybody or anything like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I read things, and I read a lot of things, and I have access to read a lot of things. And it's not like I'm, I'm not, some kind of deep insider,
You're not an insider
in the locker room or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
This isn't,
Mm-hmm.
but from what I understand, there was the reasons, some of the reasons why he didn't go to New Jersey was for fear of how it would affect his brother on the team, whether it would affect him contractually,
Mm-hmm.
where he would be making less money because, excuse me, let's face it, Quinn's going to be asking for what? North of 11 mil a year?
Oh,
right?
At least. Oh, yeah.
Okay, and that's going to be a huge cap hit for a team like New Jersey, even though they got some cap space. But his contract is going to be coming up here the next year or two. And if suddenly you're paying your brother 12, 13, 14, 15 million dollars a year, well, what's that going to leave on the slab for you if now you suddenly have to pay a whole bunch of these other free agents that you got? You know what I mean? And you're still trying to build this team. You're still trying to make the playoffs. You're still trying to be, part of the conversation. And I think that was part of the reason why he didn't go to New Jersey. And everybody thought that he was going to go to New Jersey because of his brother. But if you kind of zoom back a little bit and look at it from like the top of the building a little bit, and we were talking about this off air about how they pretty much are playing, the same kind of defense. So it would be a fight for line space, a fight for ice time, a thing. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. And you even mentioned about some coaching that might need to be changing and things of that nature. I mean, there's a whole host of reasons why he didn't go to New Jersey. Okay. And I think that a good portion of it was that he didn't want to make things that difficult for his brother, didn't want to put that extra pressure on his brother, didn't want to take away from his brother. Do you know what I mean? Like, could you imagine if the Kachuk brothers were on the same team?
Yeah. I could maybe imagine that a little more, but I'll take him from what you said, and I'll kind of add on to it a little bit. Okay, here's a few.
Yeah.
First of all, they're both LDs. They're both left defensemen.
Right, that's what I mean.
So So if he goes to New Jersey, his brother's already making $9 million a year. Now he was given that contract based on the fact that they viewed him as a number one center, playing top PP and all that. Okay. If Quinn goes to New Jersey, I think he's going to make 13 to 14 at least in New Jersey, right? I think look at the market out there. The guy's possibly the second, maybe best defenseman in the NHL. This guy's going to make large. He's going to make large. So now you have Hughes making 9. That is what, to your point, the pressure. Now you're making $9 million. You're a second D. You're not on the power play. The perception is going to be that you're overpaid. You're overpaid in New Jersey.
And isn't he part of the leadership group? Doesn't he have a letter on his sweater too?
I believe you know what? I'm not sure. I think he might. Heischer's the captain. I'm not sure about that. I'm terrible at. That's one thing I'm terrible at. I wonder if they show that.
But I think that's kind of what's going on, is that he might be part of the leadership group there too, which that's another even thing.
Now he's stomping on the leadership. How does he's not, you can't give him a letter. Well, you can take it off of whoever has a second assistant, and then
can you? I mean,
you could maybe eventually or whatever. I don't know if that's going to be, I'm sure Quinn would be like, he doesn't care about the letter and stuff like that. But I think it has more to do with the fact that he's going to overshadow his brother. And it's not just, you got to remember that this isn't just about how much you're making contract-wise. He's going to his brother is no longer going to get sponsorship deals anymore, or the lesser ones. Everybody's going to want Quinn. So let's look at this financially, okay? He goes to Minnesota. First of all, he could have went to New Jersey. He had a no movement clause. He could have said, going to New Jersey, that's it, that's all. He didn't have to give more teams to go to. So the fact that he got traded to Minnesota meant he okayed the trade to Minnesota. People act like he went to Minnesota against his will. He did not.
How did they act like he went there against his will if he had a no movement clause and
I think people forget about that part.
Because look, if you have a no movement clause, then you pretty much have to agree to whichever team they want to try to trade you to. And if you don't, that's the whole reason why they give players the no movement clause in their contract, which allows them to pick and choose where they get traded to.
Right. So if he absolutely wanted to go to New Jersey, he would have just said, I'm only going to New Jersey because I have an NMC. Vancouver would have got a light return and he would have went to New Jersey. So he went to Minnesota. So here's the thing. Let's look at this financially, okay? You have an agent. Your agent's going to say, look, what do you want in your life? What is going to be best for you? I'm going to tell you something you could do that would be better financially for your family and probably your brothers too. If you're looking at finances, if you're looking at money is important. Everybody knows that. I don't care how much. I don't care if you're making 9 or 10 million. 4 million is still a lot of money when you've got extended family and stuff to take care of and many other things, investments that you could use, all of that. So you go to Minnesota. Now, as an agent, I can leverage you going back to New Jersey, right? Still, that's still an option that you can go there. You're not making a promise to stay in
because because he's still going to be a free agent at the end of the year.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So now Minnesota also goes, well, if you wanted to go there, you could have went there. So they have a little thing of knowing that you didn't really want to go there totally, completely. But the agent can say, it's still up in the air. And that's not the only place he could go. So he can come out with an offer with something like $15 million a year. $15 million a year, and my client stays with you, or you work out a deal, I think it'll be somewhere around 14 to 15 to stay in Minnesota. Now,
Okay.
if he goes to New Jersey, he's not really going to have much leverage except for leaving, and he's going to be in a bad spot to leave because
Right.
you went there to be with your brother, and now you're going to bolt. That just doesn't look good at all, right? That's a bad spot for his brother. I think that's what he meant, but he said, I didn't want to put my brother in a bad spot. If I go there and it doesn't work, and also, like you said, now he's overshadowing his brother and all kinds of stuff like that. So he goes to Minnesota. They leverage it. He signs a contract for 15 sheets and goes, a little less than Kaprizov. And maybe, who knows what it's going to be, but it's going to be high. And his brother now in New Jersey is kind of the guy as a defenseman there. So his brother's going to get more sponsorship deals than he would if Hughes went there, because Hughes would get all the sponsorship deals. Everybody's going to want to give it to him. Now in Minnesota, Hughes will get a bunch of sponsorship deals, and the other Hughes in New Jersey will get sponsorship deals. And here's the big one. And here's the big one to me. And I don't know about you, but I would, if I'm making, even if I'm not making, I love my family, right? But if sometimes whether we saw it with Goudreau, and I know he said they wanted to go work at the hospital and all that sort of thing like that.
For his wife.
I know that was the thing. I think there's also a little thing where sometimes it's really cool to be closer to family, but not too close to family. You know what I mean?
like
Minnesota's like about maybe an hour, 45-minute flight to
something
New
like
Jersey.
That. Yeah.
Something like
right.
that. Now, he was in Vancouver. That's a lot longer flight. Longer flight.
That's a different time. That's time zone changes and everything. Yeah.
And I would say I would rather not be too close to my extended family all the time, especially if I'm bringing in 15 sheets a year, because everybody's going to want to be so family with you. I feel
you're suddenly going to have family you didn't know you had. Like, hey, how you doing, cousin? Third removed.
Yeah, exactly. Knocking on your door constantly all the time, phoning. Can I come over?
But here's the thing. But here's the thing, though. I get what you're saying when it comes to that. But then again, when I talk to these guys, the players, when you talk to the players and you see how much time they spend away from family.
Right.
Okay. So
that's immediate though, mostly, right?
Well, even like if you're away from your wife and your kids.
Wife and kids, that's a difference. Yeah, that's what I mean.
As compared to being away from your mom and dad.
Yeah.
That's different, right?
Yeah, of course.
But either way, you're still away from family. And as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter if your family is your wife and kids or your mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
Am I making sense so far? Do you get what I'm saying?
Sort of. I mean, wife and kids are people that you want to be around all the time because
understood. But then
they're not necessarily your in-laws and parents and stuff like that.
Agreed.
Some people, yeah, but I would say the majority really don't want their parents and other family members constantly around them all the time.
No, but what I'm talking about is family in general. It doesn't really matter whether you have a wife and kids or you have mom and dad or aunts and uncles, grandparents. It doesn't matter. Wherever you come from, wherever your home is.
Yeah.
Wherever home is. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. It doesn't matter who or what's there. That's home. So when you're away from that for very extended periods of time on a regular basis, you can see how much they look forward to. You can see how refreshed they are when they get to spend that time. You can see the connection that they have with their family and why they want to be there. You know what I mean? And they cherish that time that they get to spend because, they're out there playing hockey and doing that hockey lifestyle, which is all consuming. There's no off season. You don't just get to, you get to take a couple weeks here and there, but for the most part, you're either in the gym or you're sort of training or you're mostly training or you're doing drills, or for the most part, you're strapping skates on pretty much on a daily basis until you retire. I mean, that's just how it is. So I think that I understand about keeping family far enough away, to where you get to have your space. And let's face it, if you and I were making that kind of money, we would definitely have our families set up so that they would be just far enough away.
Yeah. You still want to see them, but you don't need to see them all the time.
Well, they might be in another county or two away.
Yeah. Like, for me, I would have, if I was making that kind of money, I would set my parents up in Mexico. First of all, they want the summer, right? Because they've been living in Canada their whole lives. Set them up in Mexico. And whenever I had time, I would fly to Mexico and see them. And I get to go to Mexico. And I get to see my family.
Vacation house in Mexico. Like,
right. Yeah, exactly. It's like having a cottage in Mexico. And
set up my cousins in Italy so that
right
in the summer I can go hop over to Italy and say,
yeah, it's a little bit of a trip. At least Mexico's not that long of a trip on the plane to go see them.
But it's the same concept,
And then my kids could go see them anytime they want, like, especially as they get older, right? If they're old enough to fly, they can just, here you go, plane tickets, go see grandpa and grandma anytime you want. You get to hang out in Mexico.
There you go.
All that kind of stuff.
There you go.
And you could,
that's awesome.
You could send them a plane ticket to come wherever you are too, or whatever. But it's
right.
The point is they're not like right there, because I may be on the road playing hockey and stuff like that, and I miss everything. But my wife probably is at home all the time, maybe works works, and then she's got family coming over constantly, knocking on the door, all that kind of. I think that is a big deal. So, and you know what? I wouldn't doubt that Luke Hughes kind of went, you know what, bro? It's nice being around family, but I'll tell you, there's a lot of family here.
You think maybe?
He might be second guessing a little bit. Like, maybe I could have played in Columbus too. That seems like a good idea. But anyways, those are a bunch of reasons. And I personally think he's going to sign long in Minnesota. I really do. I think he's going to sign long in Minnesota. That's what I think is going to happen. I don't think he's. I was with everybody else when I said, "Oh yeah, he's only going to go there for 2 years and then he's going to go to New Jersey." But the more I got thinking about it, I was like, "Wait a second, he could have already went to New Jersey if that's what he wanted to do, because he had all the power to do so, and he didn't. So why didn't he?" And these are some of the many of the reasons that he possibly did not. So. Okay. That being said, to New Jersey, the general manager himself has said that he is going to be stirring the pot at the trade deadline. In other words, to send a message to his teammates, to his players, for whatever they're doing or whatever they're not doing or whatever the case may be. So it is definitely going to be a thing that it is definitely going to be a thing that somebody is getting traded. Now, I have heard and read When I say heard, it's usually on podcasts and stuff like that that I listen to. Sometimes I do have a couple insiders that say some things that I sometimes can say who they are, sometimes I can't. I have built up a little bit of an insider pocket. I mean, not enormous, but they're usually pretty accurate, the ones I talk to. And one in particular, I can actually say who it is Jonathan Davis. He's a reporter for the LA Kings. He's mostly West Coast and all that, but he hears a lot of really, talks to a lot of other reporters all over the place and all that, and he doesn't mind me saying it. He says that something to some level is going to happen in New Jersey, and it could be anything from a Mercer to a Hughes. Jack Hughes. And the reason why Jack Hughes has come up is because they were really mad at him that he didn't play before the Olympics and then went to the Olympics. And there's been some other scuttle stuff that's been going on there with Jack Hughes that has rubbed a few people in the upper echelons of the New Jersey Devils the wrong way. But that one in particular was not, they were not happy with that.
So you're saying that maybe it could go the other way. Maybe,
yes, possible.
Maybe instead of Quinn going to New Jersey, maybe his brother comes to
Jack
Minnesota
does.
with him.
And Luke stays there. But
yeah,
Jack goes. And maybe Jack is also like, I don't know if I want to be this close to home and all of the things we just talked about and everything. I'm not sure. Then there was another fellow who I listen to all the time, and he's usually really accurate. This is not a guy that I know. It's just somebody I listen to because he's usually really accurate on things that are going to happen in the league, who says that it's not likely one of the core. It's likely Mercer and maybe one more player. And that's going to be the shakeup. I don't know how much of a shakeup that is, depending on the return. Like, what are you trying to say? And personally, if that management team has not identified that Sheldon Keefe is a bad coach yet, they should all go. I mean, Sheldon Keefe is a really bad coach. That, to me, is the problem there beyond anything else.
That's what I wanted to get into next there with you, Perlo, because you had mentioned that a little bit before, either off camera or we were talking about it earlier, that you didn't feel that he was the right coach there. So that could also play into part why Quinn didn't come there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe he didn't want, maybe his brother told him and said, hey, maybe Jack called him and said, hey, maybe you might want to reconsider because I'm looking to get out of here.
Either looking to get out of here, or he's saying, we don't have a good, Sheldon is not a good coach, and we all know it here. He's likely, there's lots of rumblings that our manager is going to be removed at the end of the season. So we don't know who the manager is going to be, and we don't know who the coach is going to be. So maybe you want to go somewhere else, at least for a little bit.
Yeah.
Before we get all this straightened out, and then I'll talk to you later if you want to come here or not come here or whatever the case may be. That's a possibility.
Right. Yeah.
But it's looking like at least Mercer, somebody's getting traded out in New Jersey. Hamilton is another one that's come up for Toronto. I don't know what that trade would look like. He's making $9 million. I don't know what Toronto is thinking. I think, talk about Toronto. Okay, now we'll get into the Toronto part. What a segue. We just segued.
You like that, boy? It's like you're professional or something.
Well, I accidentally professional. Anyways,
no, I think we might call that professional amateur.
I think professionals have like things written down and the times you have to talk about them and all that kind of stuff like that. That's what I've heard. That's the rumor I've heard.
You don't have notes?
Yeah, of course I do. No.
Dude, I'm just kidding here, man.
Okay. Anyways, Toronto. Here's the thing.
stressful.
Watch for this. I cannot say the source for this.
Okay. Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Before you say this, what exactly are you hearing about what's going on in Toronto? Because something's gonna have to happen there in Toronto in order for this team's got to do something. Because they're clearly not going to make the playoffs where they are right now.
Yeah.
And you already got rid of one piece and shipped him off to Vegas. So, I mean, who's next?
The fellow that did this, he has already did a publication on it. That's the reason why I can say who it is. He hasn't confirmed that I'm able to use it, but I'll tell you who it is if it happens, or if it doesn't happen, doesn't matter. Nylander.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of rubbing the wrong way with Mr. Nylander, and and that, part of that is I was wondering about this earlier. He had magical illnesses all through the year. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. He missed games because of illness so many times, and he was back the next game. Apparently, it's him and the coach do not get along, and I understand that because Berube wants all of his players to be responsible defensively, and he don't care about that. I stand by the red line. Everybody gets me the puck, and I score. That's the plan. That is the plan, and that's the way it's going to be. I ain't playing no D. Nobody on this team is even close to good as offensively as me. I'm not going down there and grinding myself and getting bruises, getting bobos on my elbows when I can.
Because you have to block shots.
Or whatever. Whatever. You're just in the D zone in general. I mean, that's a lot of work. You got to skate all the way down the ice. You actually can't take offensive risks all over the place. You actually have to have a mind towards making sure you're in the neutral zone when to set up systems so people can't get through the neutral zone too quick, and your defense can have an easier time of it, and all of those sort of things like that. He don't buy that. Anybody got time for that for Nylander? So it's basically sounds like it's him or Berube gone, and Nylander could very likely be the one, and very soon, right after the Olympic break. Watch for that. Watch for that.
I mean, he's got 52 points,
mm-hmm.
18 goals, 34 assists. He is a +2, and he's played in 40 games.
Yeah. He's
missed
he's a beautiful offensive player. He's missed
what are they at? 55 or 56 or something like that.
He's missed like 15 games.
Yeah, okay, right.
Apparently he gets the flu or a flu when he gets fed up with Berube. He all of a sudden has a flu. Sick.
He's getting almost 20 minutes, 18 and a half minutes average.
Oh, yeah. And you know what? You can win cups with guys like Nylander, but you got to have a team that is set up to be able to absorb what he doesn't do. And they don't. And I think that's really what Berube is saying here is like, we can't afford you to do that here. Your offense isn't going to matter if we're not able to play a tight system when you're on the ice. And I don't blame him because it's true. It's true. It's not, and they haven't been able to do that for a while, even when Marner was there. Their depth players are not very good, and they haven't been for quite some time, and they're still not good. And now you're without Marner, who used to do all that. He was used as the shutdown D forward. He played almost all PK time. He was playing against elite competition more than any other forward and more than every other defenseman but 5, which is insane. So now somebody's got to pick up the slack, and there's only everybody else who has already had their slack. So Nylander is the one that has to pick up the slack, and he won't do it. So I hear that they're running with Berube, and he's going to have to just. So I don't know what that's going to look like because he's got a no movement clause. I don't know how maybe if he really wants to leave because Berube is going to stay, they'll give him like 5. He'll give them like 5 or 6 teams so he can move quick, in which case they can get a big return. And that's it.
Well, all right. So now let's play devil's advocate here now, okay? So let's say that everything that what you're talking about is on the level and everything's copacetic, and that's exactly what happens. Who are the 5 teams, do you think?
Well, it seems like Carolina is not really worried because, I mean, they went out and got Rantanen. Rantanen is kind of the same as Nylander in that way. They went out and got Rantanen, and they're an analytics team, so they knew what Rantanen was all about. And they tried to keep him, and Rantanen didn't want to stay. He said because there was no direct flight to Finland. That's possible. It could be also that he didn't want to bother with Brind'Amour's system. But so I think they would be interested in Nylander. I don't know how much they would force him to change. If they wouldn't, they'd have to understand that he's probably not going to. Probably play him with Aho and somebody like Jarvis and Aho, who are just unbelievable shutdown guys, and just tell them, you know what, Nylander's going to be Nylander. I know we're giving him a pass. Somehow they got to sell that to the rest of the teammates. We're giving him a pass. He's going to play the way he's going to play, but he's going to score a lot of goals, and we need goal scoring here. So Carolina would be one, I would think, off the top of my head.
So let me ask you this then. You have said this from the very beginning of the season that Toronto is more than likely not going to make the playoffs.
Yes.
Shaping up to be that situation here. So that makes them more of sellers than they are buyers. So based off of what you're saying, there has to be at least another team or two besides Carolina, because I can't really see Carolina jumping in that mix. I mean, he's making how much money?
$11 million. They got lots of cap space.
Oh, Carolina.
Yeah, they were willing to pay Rantanen what Dallas is paying him, 12 something.
Okay, but are they going to be able to do that with other players like that on the team, like with Aho and stuff like that? I mean, you know what I'm saying. So
whenever they come up, it might create an issue, but they don't seem to care about that right now. They just care about getting goal scoring on there.
Okay, so you think he's going to move before the trade deadline, or at the trade deadline, or by the trade deadline? Okay.
Yeah.
And so you think that Carolina could be a team. What other teams do you think could potentially be in the mix? Because he's going to more than likely want to go to somewhere where he's going to be able to at least contend for a Stanley Cup.
Yes, I would definitely say that for sure, unless he's got some favorite city that he would want to go to or something like that. Seattle was in on Panarin, and they offered Panarin $14 million a year, and he got 11 in LA.
But it's Seattle.
Yeah, but they're in a playoff spot right now.
Okay, but it's Seattle.
Okay,
it's not LA.
Oh, so yeah. For Panarin, you mean? Yes, that's right.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
We said it in that. We said it in that podcast that Puck and Deep podcast that he was going to LA, and the next day he went to LA. Yeah, absolutely. But for Nylander,
it's like we know what we're talking about, man.
Yeah, for Nylander, it could be a spot that would be very beneficial to them. Again, this is usually a team that plays. It's kind of weird. They got like a mix of players that play very strong D and other players that don't. They really kind of just work with whatever you got. So, I mean, if Seattle was in on Panarin, I'm sure they would be in. They have Shane Wright is already basically out there for sure. They have, a lot of prospects and stuff like that and picks and, other players on. McCann is a guy that was a guy they picked up from Toronto. So you could bring him back there at the expansion draft. There are some players and possibilities there. I'm just saying this because I know for sure that they were in on Panarin. So if they were in on Panarin, it's a good chance that they would be in on Nylander as well. Maybe Columbus Blue Jackets want to go big. I'm not sure. I don't know if Nylander's a guy who wants sexy cities or not, or if that matters to him. But I know they're talking about signing all their players, and they're not going to rebuild, and they want to add and all that kind of stuff like that. So that's a team that's probably out there. I would think maybe Utah has been a team that's been very aggressive getting Peterka, and still I think would like to add to their offense. You never can count out Vegas Golden Knights to do anything. And Washington, I think for sure would be in on Nylander. They also were in on Panarin quite a bit. And apparently out of the teams that weren't to LA, they were the closest one. I don't know how close that was, but they were the closest ones to being able to acquire Panarin. So my fave right here would be that, Nylander. And there's several reasons for Washington. There's several reasons for that. Ovechkin has never had to play defense his whole career, right?
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because as soon as he did start playing defense, he won a cup.
Sort of. He still didn't, kind of. He blocked a shot.
Okay, but it was more than not. It was way more than him not playing it.
They got him to do a little bit. Yeah. But for most part, his whole career, he hasn't had to. He's been cherry picking and stuff like that. Nobody wants to talk about this, but it's true. It's totally cherry picks.
How long did Sidney Crosby do that?
Early in his career, yeah, before he started learning how to play a little bit more defense, yeah.
until you get it right. Those real some of them high school guys. It's a head thing.
A lot of these kids coming up, they don't know. They've never been taught it. You don't learn it in junior. You got a coach in junior, and you got that kind of skill. Those coaches don't even know the systems that NHL plays. Most of them. They get a guy with that kind of skill. They just go score, dude. Okay, go again. Go again.
Well, but I got to be honest with you though, Perlo. What I've witnessed so far, is that's not the coaches are in the juniors. At least what I've seen from the USHL, the coaches and the teams that play in the USHL, those coaches they put systems in. They have, you know what I mean. That's a straight up system down there that those guys are playing and learning.
Junior, and I didn't say college.
Yeah, but USHL is junior. It's not college.
Doesn't matter. It's high school. These are much more highbrow coaches than what you get in the junior level, in general. And a lot of these kids, they just don't get it. College is the reason why the United States is doing as well as they are right now. I mean, you don't really have a bigger fan. You have about equal fan base as Canada does. I say we now because I'm living in. We do. I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth because I'm Canadian and I live in the United States and I love both countries. But the United States, most of those schools are private. They're paid very well to be there. You do have private schools in Canada, and a lot of the more wealthier people get coaching a little more similar to that, but not to the level of the United States, man.
Well, let me Let me make let me do some corrections here real quick. First of all, most of the Division 1A colleges are not private. Most of them are public and are state funded, most of them.
Okay. Not
Okay.
colleges, but the prep schools and stuff like that.
So some of that, yes. Like
Yeah.
some of those, yes, that's true. They get donations from alumni and things like that and blah blah blah.
Mhm.
But I'm talking about, for the most part, more than 80% of the Division 1A colleges
Mhm. Are funded by the state.
or right, exactly. Or
Right.
some type of
Nothing is the only thing funded by the state for junior hockey is they get a stipend and they have to work with that. It's very underfunded. You pretty
see,
much
that's
have
the
you pretty much have to
sad
go
part.
by fan base. So you
So
can't
now,
afford
yeah.
to pay. If you're a damn good coach, you're not staying in junior. There's very few that were really, really good in junior that knew these. In fact, a lot of the coaches that came up from junior, they went to the AHL and they said I had to learn. It's like learning hockey all over again. I didn't know about the levels of defensive awareness and all of these systems that were in place, these hybrid systems and all of that stuff like that. I heard about it, but nobody ever taught me it. I might have read a book and I kind of whatever, but in the US, you have darn good coaches, and this is like you said, paid by the state to get paid well coaches. Your college coaches make a ton of money, ton of money.
Well, yeah, because that's part of the state funding.
Right. Exactly. It's funded.
So I mean, I've been lucky enough to see and meet some of the coaches in some of the junior leagues, and those guys are just as dedicated and just as knowledgeable, and they are, see, it's a different situation, I think, from a junior coach to a college coach to a professional coach.
Right.
As a junior coach, you're basically just coaching the kid to get to college.
Yeah.
Okay,
More skills. It's more skills than system and stuff like that.
right.
Right.
You're coaching him up so that he can be able to utilize the skills and talent that God's given them, and then they can use that training that they were able to get, and then play in systems in college, and then in the AHL, and then the NHL. Do you understand? So by the time you get to be a coach in the NHL, you're not trying to get these kids to the next level. We're not kids anymore now. We're trying to get us to the championship, right? So I do understand what you mean by some of the junior league coaches don't have ideas about certain things, but I can honestly tell you with great gladness that the coaches that I've been able to meet and been around and have experienced are more focused on making sure that the kids learn the game of hockey the right way and do things the right way.
Yeah.
And if a kid is good, they earn the ice time, and if they're not,
Of course. But also,
you know what
let's
I
look at
mean?
it from this perspective. Even if you're being taught that, people, most fans don't realize that hockey is a very complicated game. It is not a
It's
simple
not easy.
black and white. When people
Nope.
say all you got to do is watch the game, what are you watching? You have to know what you're looking at and what you're looking for and who. There's a guy in Philly. What's his name? Petey, coach. He's putting out stuff on like Michkov and the issues that he's having defensively and all these kind of stuff like that. And it's great. It's awesome. Now he's not beating up on the kid. This he's just pointing out the things that Michkov has to work for to be able to move forward in his progression and stuff like that. Now, at college, 18-year-old kid There's only so much that noggin's going to soak into, okay? When you're 18, even if you're a very mature 18-year-old, you're learning the basics of certain systems, maybe one system that coach teaches and believes in, just to get that down. When you go to the NHL, now you're going to be learning hybrid systems based on long-term teammates and that change, the systems that change game to game based on your opponent. Sometimes in game, you're learning it's a much bigger jump of knowledge that you need to know. And you get some phenoms like Schaefer, for instance, right? Who is already picking it up at his age. Hudson has gone through the roof this year at 20 some years old. Those are like,
but last year he was the kid that was getting it, coming in as a rookie, and last year he was the one getting it. Now
that?
This year, his second year,
Hudson's getting it this year. Last year he was just learning the ropes and he was, struggling with it a little bit. He's already picking up now. That is rare air. That is rare air for a defenseman. Schaefer is rare air for a defenseman.
Yeah.
When you're talking, even for forwards, to be able to be at that level, like Beniers was amazing right away. Suzuki, amazing right away. But
look at Celebrini now.
Celebrini's still got to learn the defensive side of the game, but he's so offensive. I don't know if he's really going to have to embrace it. McKinnon took a while. Like McKinnon, these are intelligent players, but it is not easy to learn at the NHL level the systems and things that you're going to learn, especially when you're young. It takes time. It takes time. It's a very difficult thing to do. So I don't know where we're going with that, but I don't know.
We went way out there.
I don't care. We're in deep, right? Wayne. We're in
That's
deep.
Right. That's why it's called Puck and Deep, because we know puck.
Right. So we were going to talk. I might have to change the title here because we were going to talk about teams that are going to make the playoffs and not make the playoffs.
Well,
so we got 15 minutes to do it. Can we do it in 15 minutes or maybe 20 minutes?
Okay. Well, let's just fly like this, because I just want to throw something out here at you, okay? We both agree that there's going to be some teams that are going to make the playoffs this year that didn't make the playoffs last year, and there's going to be some teams that made the playoffs last year that aren't going to make it this year, right? So I'm going to go out on a limb and give you the teams that I think just aren't going to make the playoffs. Okay. I don't think Nashville is going to make the playoffs. Okay. I think the Kings are still in the hunt and are going to be fighting for it with Anaheim and with Utah, but and that's really tight, okay, because Seattle and Edmonton and the Golden Knights are
San Jose still there.
Right. But they're all like within a point of each other. So, but the LA Kings are at 60, and then Ducks are at 63, Utah 64, Kraken at 63, Edmonton at 64, and the Knights at 68. You know what I mean? And then after that, you got Dallas, Minnesota, and Colorado. I mean, so it's like, all right, whatever. But I don't think Nashville's going to make it. I just don't see that happening. I think the Kings or Anaheim, one of those two teams, is either going to be out. Okay. I just don't know which one. It might be the Kings. I don't know. Okay. As far as the West is concerned. Clearly, Vancouver, St. Louis, the Flames, the Jets, the Blackhawks, San Jose, I think they're all not going to make it this year. As good as San Jose has been playing, as good as Celebrini's been playing, that's all fine and great, but it's not enough. You know, your differential is minus 22. So, I mean, you're 27-24 at 55 games played. So, unless they get on a bender or unless Utah or Anaheim, one of those teams falters, then, but otherwise I don't see that happening. As far as in the East, I got to be honest with you, man. I was really surprised by the Islanders. I wasn't expecting them to be quite where they are right now. So that's awesome. I love seeing that. Anything that I get to see Matthew Schaefer be successful in, I'm all for that all day long. I'm also a little bit surprised at where the Penguins are and how they've been able to be as successful as they've been through this season with the age and everything else that the amount of questions that they had on the squad. Okay. Frankly, I don't think we're going to see the Capitals make it. Okay. You might see the Blue Jackets get in, but I don't think we're going to see the Capitals. One of those two teams is not going to make it. And surprise, surprise, how about those Buffalo Sabres? 32-19. Like, who would have thought at 70 points right now with 57 games played, right? They're definitely in, but I think you're looking at Washington and Blue Jackets looking out.
Okay. We have some disagreement here.
I'm sure we are.
I think Anaheim makes it. I'm not trusting LA to do anything as long as Hiller is the coach. I don't care if they got Panarin. Don't care. That team is already way better than the position they're in right now. Hiller's just an absolutely deplorably bad coach. He's not an NHL coach. You talked about the college guys you talk to all the time. Any one of those guys you talk to would be better than Hiller. Yeah. So
wow. All right.
He's terrible. So I'm not putting LA in. You got a genius guy like Dano, one of the highest IQs that have played in the last 15 years. And he talked about how much he loved LA before. I've heard him do interviews, how much he loved LA, he loved the team, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden he knocks on the general manager's door and says, yeah, I don't mind moving. You got to play with that. If you're that smart of a player and you got to play with that guy, I hear he's a really nice guy. Just, okay. But really bad. So, right. And then Fogle, another one who has struggled this year and no reason for it. The guy's he's a great shutdown winger. I would anybody out there grab him right away. You're going to see he totally changes and goes back to his normal self immediately. And you can probably pick him up for peanuts on the dollar. So anyways, I don't care if they got Panarin. I don't even care if Fialo didn't get injured. I'm not taking LA to make the playoffs. So give me Anaheim, possibly could see. The thing about San Jose is their differential is bad, but they played 3 more road games than they have home games. And that gives them 3 more home games, and their home record is very good. So I think that differential could change. But the fact of the matter is that team is getting carried by Celebrini and some goaltending. Celebrini is just an absolute beast, man. That guy is incredible. They got other guys like Smith and all that kind of stuff like that, but Celebrini is otherworldly.
I mean, you know.
So anyways, that's what I got for that. I think Anaheim makes it in. LA doesn't. Possibly San Jose pushes in or whatever the case may be. The other thing is LA, Anaheim, and Anaheim, and San Jose have the easiest schedule for the rest of the
remaining. Yeah. The remaining schedule is easy.
For the people for the teams that they play against, the quality of their opponents, they have the easiest schedule. So there's a very good chance that they could be successful there. In the East, I'll go with the one you didn't mention. And you know what? I'm only going to say a little bit because I just did a video on it on this team and why I think it's a very good chance they won't make the playoffs. And it's the Pittsburgh Penguins. I go watch the video to see all the reasons, but one reason is, I'll just tell you one reason. They have 6 back-to-backs in the next, 25 games?
Yeah.
6 back-to-backs. And they have to play a lot of games. And that's all I'm going to tell you, because you're going to go watch it and find out the rest. There's a whole bunch of reasons why I have Pittsburgh.
And I'm sure it would have absolutely nothing to do with the fact that Sidney Crosby got hurt.
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't know if he's going to be able to come back or not, or anything
right.
Like that, but
okay.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
I'm saying even if Crosby's in there, and I hate to do this because nobody has burnt me more in the betting world than Sidney Crosby. I do not like betting against Sidney Crosby. Sidney Crosby is possible top 3 leaders of all time, as far as I'm concerned, and maybe at the end of the day, maybe number 1.
Well, let me throw this at you, okay? I can see why you would say that, because they are actually tied in points with the Sabres at 70.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And now with Crosby getting hurt, whether he's able to come back and play or not.
Yeah.
Okay. It doesn't really matter. Okay. The fact that he's hurt and potentially could be out.
I think it matters if he's out long term. Yeah.
Well, yeah, right. Clearly.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm getting at is that if he's not going to be able to make it back in a full capacity, Pittsburgh is pretty much, you might as well, they're definitely not going to make it.
It's going to be very, 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 very tough. That's for sure.
Right. That's what I was trying to get at.
Right.
Due to the fact that he's hurt, and if he's not able to come back, then I agree Pittsburgh is definitely not going to make it. But if he's able to come back and play, then I don't really have a problem with that as far as some of their back-to-back games, because it's not going to be against a whole their stretch set of games as well is not all that. I mean, they're going to be playing some tough games, but not all of them.
Sorry.
Do you know what I mean?
They have the toughest schedule in the East.
Oh, they do? Okay. Well, hey.
I didn't want to say that because I wanted you to watch the video, but go watch the video anyways. The lightest schedule of all the teams in the Metro, the Washington Capitals.
I was just going to say the Capitals.
They only have 3 back-to-backs, and they play very light competition. I was going to put it out as a future for people that follow me, but I don't like the price. Pittsburgh's plus 210, they're plus 145. And there could be the steam seems to be coming out of Ovi. Now he could go for a push here. I don't know. They did get Dubois back. I don't know how much that matters. I mean, after the break last year, he just went back to being the old Dubois again. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just goes back to being the old Dubois again, which is not very good. So, but if they're motivated, they have a really good shot because of their schedule and and they don't have many back-to-backs. And they also have played 3 more games than Pittsburgh already. So they have 3 games in hand. Or no, Pittsburgh has 3 games in hand. But that's the reason why they have a lighter schedule. Okay. So they have a lighter schedule ahead. Columbus, of course, gone on that burner before the break with the new coach bump and all that stuff like that. They've been playing excellent. I could see them coming up and keep on rolling like that. And they've got a little heavier schedule than Washington, only 3 back-to-backs. But Pittsburgh, at the very last 5 games, they have 5 games in 7 nights. At Detroit, home to the Islanders, home to I think it's on the road to Ottawa in the middle game, and then back-to-back against Florida. 5 games in 7 nights. That's going to be at the end of the schedule when they're already just barreling to try to make it. That's going to be so tough, man. That is like, if they get over that, it'd be something. That's why I like Pittsburgh to miss. And of course, I already mentioned Ottawa. I did a video on that. Ottawa to make the playoffs. I think they'll catch up that 6 points. I just love the way I like the cut of their jib right now. And I'm hoping the team that falls out is this team with the second most difficult schedule in the East, and that's Boston, because they've had a very easy schedule up until now. They got a really tough one down the stretch, and I'm hoping that they have more road games to go than they do home games, and they're not a very good road team and a crushing home team. So I'm hoping it's them, because if it's not, it's going to be Detroit, and I already bet Detroit to make the playoffs preseason.
Yeah, I know.
So I really hope I hope it's Boston. I think Ottawa's going to catch one of those teams, and if not, they're going to be able to find a way into the to the wild cards, to a wild card spot there or something like that. That team was just playing too good before the break. As long as they get good goaltending, they're way better than their record says. So Ottawa is that team. And that was, I think, all of it for me. That's all I had to make it or not make it. All right. This is Puck and Deep. And we finish up.
That was our full 42 or 52.
That's my full 42. I don't know if you got more than 42 to give. If you do, God bless you. I don't.
No, I know. No.
I've only got 42. I do give 100% of that 42. So in a way, I kind of give 100%. Yeah.
Well, how's this for you? We gave our full 42 for an hour and for over an hour. So that means that we gave 110% to our full 42.
Yeah. Well, that changes the math there. You'd have to carry.
Whatever, You'd have to. It's too late to be doing math.
You'd have to be like doing pi and stuff like that for that one. You have to get out your protractors and your moon ruler.
Man, whoa!
Remember the moon ruler and and the toggle thingamajiggers. Never knew what to do with that.
The scientific ruler.
Poke the girl in the bum in front of me. That's about all I knew how to do with that thing. Anyways, hey, tell them about all the things that you do in the great land of R&J Sports.
Yeah, man. Well, for one, we do this great show here called Puck and Deep, where we get to have the great Pearl of Wisdom, and we've been very lucky to be able to have the most awesome Lyle Richardson from SpectresHockey.net, and also he writes for the Hockey News. So it's like we have sources, you know what I mean, right? So
yeah,
but you got to check that out. You got to go check out our video that we did about the Panarin trade going to LA. You got to check out the one where we did the rumor mill with Lyle. That was a really awesome show.
St. Louis
You got
to,
right. You got to check out the stuff that we did just the last time, Perlo and I here on Puck and Deep. I do a lot of stuff here with prospects. I talk to a lot of prospects. I interview guys. I cover the USHL. I cover all the junior leagues. And then I also do a show with Russ Cohen about the Philadelphia Flyers. Of course, they're on a break right now, so we're not really doing any shows right now until after the Olympics. I'm going to also do a show with my buddy Gage called The Huddle, a Black and Gold podcast, where we cover the Pittsburgh Steelers. So be sure to hop on over to the YouTube channel at R&J Media Sports, and then you can also follow me on X at RNJ_media. Thank you, Perlo, for having me on here, brother. Anytime you want to do this, man, you sign me up. I'm down.
I'm batching it now, so we can do this like almost every night, dude. My wife
we just might.
My wife is taken off to Egypt. And I was like, okay. So I told her that if you want to do a vacation and it's during hockey season, you're on your own. So I ain't going. Egypt means nothing to me when the hockey's on. So she wanted to go. Her friends were going, and she said she wanted to go, and I'm like, okay, I get a little bit of vacation too. because I get
Right.
to do whatever I want and nobody could tell me otherwise. Boom. Love it. All right. You can also
So basically what you're gonna do is you're gonna sleep all day and be up all night doing podcasts and not cleaning the house. And no, I'm just kidding. I'm
actually I
just kidding.
can't. I'm the one that does clean the house. She's the sloppy.
Right. That's why I said I can't do that. So
I can't do that. No. Anyways, Perlo's NHL POW. Perlo's NHL POW.
check him out, man.
Go check it out. Become a community member. It's highlighted on my profile. Just hit the community link that's there. And you're going to get some special stuff when the season starts up again. Some great advantages for you. But if you're not a community member, you don't get it. And if that would happen to you, that would make me really sad on my insides if you weren't able to take advantage of this.
Well, get signed up.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea. Okay. Yeah. It's been good times, my friends. We'll do this again. Talk to you next time on Buck and Deep.